Taking inspirations from Gumroad's new and improved design layout, which I'm a huge fan of, let's see how we can incorporate some of that into designing this pricing table right within Elementor using Flexbox containers. The plugin we'll be needing for this will be the free version of Elementor and nothing else. And if you haven't already, open up Elementor settings, select the Experiments tab, and turn on the Flexbox container feature. And lastly, scroll down to save your changes. Now, once that's done, let's open up our design canvas, and I've taken the liberty of creating the parent container our elements go into. So, starting off, we've got its content width set to boxed with a width of 1200 pixels, mean height set to 850, items direction vertical, and its content justified to the center. I've also gone ahead to add in a container inside the parent container with these elements to fill in the gaps. And directly under this, I've added another container to contain our pricing tables, and its width set to 1150 pixels. Its direction horizontal, so whatever we're adding here simply gets added to the left. I would also space this evenly, and lastly make the gap between my items 30 pixels. Lastly, before we begin, the primary font family for the entire design will be Moolish. To start off building the pricing table, let's add in our first container in here, and pretty much every other thing I'll leave to default except making its direction vertical and the gap between elements 25 pixels. And now we can start adding in our elements, beginning with our first heading. Let's make this silver for the first plan, and let's duplicate the heading to impute its pricing. Now when we take a look at our design reference, we see its price is a bit bigger than the per month. And to achieve this look, first you'd want to add in this line of code, and I'll be sure to leave this in the description. So this controls the text in here, and if I made this 2 pixels, this is what we get. So the highest value we get out of this would be 8 pixels. Lastly, at the end of this, let's add in per month, which shouldn't be affected by this line of code, and we get control over its size in the styling tab. So let's open this up, and for its text color, let's make this #111Cs. Now moving over to its typography, let's click on this, and for its font family, we're going to leave this set to Moolish. Its font size 18 pixels, and its width set to 800. Now the last thing we want to do in here for our typography is set the line height to 20 pixels. And that brings us to making edits to our first heading. So I'm just going to select that, head on to style, and for its text color, select this. Now instead of having to put in our color hex code for virtually all elements we would have to make edits to, I'm just going to create a global color out of this, since we'll be needing this particular color hex code for the most part. So let's add in #311Cs. And I'm just going to click on this to create a new global color, and I'm just going to title this with the same values, and let's click on create. And once that's done, let's move on to its typography. Click on this, and for its font family, I'm going to make this Moolish. Its font size set to 20 pixels. And for its width, I'm going to make this 800, and its line height set to 30 pixels. Now heading back to our design reference, the next item we'll have here will be a divider. So let's head back to our design canvas. I'm just going to head back to our widgets panel and drag in a divider directly underneath this. Once that's added, let's head on to style, and for its color, I'm going to change this to #311Cs. Now the next set of items we'll have will be the icon list. So heading back to our design canvas, let's open up the widgets panel, and I'm just going to search for icon list, and let's drag this directly underneath this. And I'm just going to delete this too. So let's open this up, and the first item we'll have there will be online coaching. Select this to pick an icon. So I'm just going to search for arrow right. So select this and click on insert. Closing this up, the next thing we need to do is duplicate this 4 more times. And now I'm just going to fill in my items before making edits to it. And now we can move on to styling this. And for the spacing between our items, I'm going to make this 15, its alignment set to the left, and we don't want dividers, so I'm just going to leave that as is. So let's open up the icon tab, and for its color, let's select this and choose #311Cs. There's no need making edits to the hover color, and for its size, let's make this 20. And for its alignment, let's leave this set to the left. And let's open up the text to make edits to that. So for the text color, let's select this to choose #311Cs. No need for this. And for the text indent, I'm going to make this 8. And for its typography, select this and select primary, which is Moolish. Click on this. So for its size, I'm going to make this 16 pixels. And for its width, I'm going to set this to 500. So taking a look at our design reference, the last item we'll have here will be a button. So let's head back to our design canvas, and I'm just going to open up our widgets panel and drag a button directly underneath our icon list. And let's move on to change its text to purchase now. And obviously you want to link this to check out a particular product or service, but for this demonstration, I'm just going to leave that as is. And for its alignment, I'm going to justify this. The rest I can leave to default, so let's open up the style tab. And for its typography, click on this and let's select the primary, which is Moolish. And for its font size, I'm going to make this 16 pixels. Its weight set to 700, and for its line height, let's make this 16 pixels. Now coming out of that, let's move on to make edit to its text color. So I'm just going to click on this and make this white so it corresponds with what we have here. So let's head back to our design canvas, and for the background color, let's click on this to select hashtag 111Cs. And I'm just going to change the border type from none to solid, and its width set to 2 pixels all around. Its color, I'm going to click on this and change this to hashtag 111Cs as well. We don't want border radius set to that, so I'm just going to make this 0 pixels all around. And now let's move on to making edit to its box shadow, which gives us this particular effect we have right here. So heading back, I'm just going to change this from what it is currently to hashtag 888Bs. And let's change its horizontal alignment to 5, and the same goes for the vertical alignment. And for its blur, I'm just going to make this 0. And now we can see the effect we achieved on our design reference, and that brings us to making edits to its padding. So I'm just going to unlink all values, and for its top, I'm going to make this 18 pixels. Same goes for the bottom, and for the right, I'm going to make this 30, and the same goes for the left, 30 pixels. Now at this point, we've added all the elements we need into our container. So let's move on to making edit to the container itself. So I'm just going to select this, head on to style. And for its background type, select classic. For its color, let's click on this. And I'm just going to make this hashtag FFC900, which practically corresponds to that on our design reference. So heading back to our design canvas, let's move on to open up its border tab. And for this, I'm going to change this to solid. And for its width, I'm going to make this 2 pixels around. And for its color, let's click on this to select hashtag 111Cs. And for its border radius, let's make this 0 pixels. Now for the box shadow, just as we did for our button to achieve this particular look, let's do the same to achieve this look. So let's head back to our design canvas, open up the box shadow, and this time for its color, let's make this hashtag 111Cs. Horizontally, let's make this 10. Vertically, let's make this 10 as well. And for its blur, let's make this 0. But just before we duplicate this to set our variables, let's add in padding around our container. So I'm just going to head on to advanced. And for its padding, I'm going to make this 40 pixels around. And now I can duplicate this 2 more times to set our variables. So what's left now is to make edit to the second and third table to correspond with what we have on our reference. So heading back to our design canvas, let's select this. But just before we do that, now if I change this to black, we can see practically all our elements in here are all black. So first off, you want to change the items in here to white. Head on to style, and for the text color, let's make this white. And I'm just going to repeat the same for the rest. So let's select this. In the case of our call to action button, just as we have here, we want to change it to the same color as what we have here. Let's click on this, head on to style, and for its color, let's change this to hashtag FFC900. And lastly, let's change the background color of our container. So select that, head on to style, and for its color, click on this to select hashtag 111C. Now for the last pricing table, the only thing we need to change will be the background color of our call to action button. So heading back, let's click on this, head on to style, and let's change this to hashtag FFC900. And lastly, change the background color of this section to white. And that's it. Now one last thing I actually noticed we missed here would be the shadow we left as black. And that doesn't correspond as much because we can have the main container set to black and still have a box shadow set to black. So we could either change it to this color or have it set to this gray color. So let's have this selected, head on to border, and let's open up the box shadow. So I'm just going to open this up, and I could just make this either hashtag FFC900 or hashtag 8BBs. And that's it. Let me know what you think about this design style in the comments below. Also, if you'd like to learn how to achieve this animated gradient, you'd find that on screen right now. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.